Hello my friends, welcome to Bob Anime and Games to Disney Exit Zone. So, before we get into this review, I thought I'd preface this with a little confession. I kind of like Digimon Adventure 02. It's true!
Okay, that's not to say I think it's the best season of Digimon, far from it. I will acknowledge there were a lot of problems with it, from inconsistent tone to major plot points like the ones involving the Dark Ocean and the Daemon Corps getting the Bleach treatment.
Well, that was pointless.
The dropped plot points were likely because of creative differences between the show's two head writers, Genki Yoshimura and Atsushi Maekawa, whom from what I've read would often butt heads due to incompatible writing styles. Which is a real shame because when they were on the same page, they wrote one of my absolute favorite storylines in any Digimon season, Ken Ichijoji's redemption arc. Yeah, was anyone actually expecting a storyline about a tragic villain who was overtaken by depression involving the death of his brother in a show meant to sell children's pedometers?
Maekawa then used a similar style when writing for the preceding season, Tamers, in particular when he wrote all the major episodes involving my all-time favorite Digimon character ever, Ipmon.
Maekawa pretty much wrote the entirety of Ipmon's arc, from his fall from grace, his pact with the devil, his second fall, his rising from the ashes, and his final redemption in my absolute favorite episode of the whole damn franchise. Currently he's writing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, and I can only wish him the best because that is quickly becoming the best damn Yu-Gi-Oh! Season ever. But why wasn't this man called in to write for Tri? Even though he wouldn't have buried the 02 team worse than Gohan was in Resurrection F.
I bring this all up because Maekawa was also the head writer of this anime, and this next major story arc shares a lot of parallels with Ken and Ipmon's. With that in mind, let's just get right back into the swing of things with our look at Fresh Precure.
Episode 19 opens with Miyuki informing the Precure about an upcoming dance tournament, and after learning how it was the very same tournament that Trinity made their big break at, the girls decide to make it their priority to win first place.
Though if it's anything like American Idol or really any reality game show, you may as well just aim for runner-up.
Meanwhile, Ise meets with Mobius and receives a new card. It can power up the Nakewameke in exchange for some of the user's life force. So yeah, it's a deadly upgrade, but as we'll soon see, Mobius gives about as much a crap about his denizens as DC gives to writing cohesive narratives. Anyway, while watching the Precure practice, Ise contemplates throwing away the clover pendant. Have I ever mentioned that, evil or not, Ise can be absolutely hilarious. I just love how effortlessly she hides that she's evil. Still, after meeting her so much, Miki is starting to catch on that maybe the mysterious girl who arrived in town around the time that Labyrinth did might be a little suspicious. And sure enough, as soon as they part ways, Ise creates a telephone Nakewameke, and when it proves to be 2 weeks, uses the card to evolve it into the second monster type of this season, the Nake Sakebe, which is a homonym for to cry and shout in anguish. In this case, I think the ones doing the crying and shouting aren't the normal civilians, but rather Ise herself. I mean, good on the animators and Ise's VA for making it look and sound painful, but it also looks a little risque. I mean, if that vine goes a little bit further up her arm, it's gonna— Okay,
I know I already used this clip back in part 1, but I gotta use it again here.
You know, for kids!
Anyway, the Witchblade card makes the new monster more than a match for the Precure. They're only barely able to defeat it using teamwork and taking advantage of an opening form when Ise's stamina gives out. Defeated, Ise retreats, but can still use the card 3 more times. The next episode, we do see actual fallout from this, with the Precure suffering from severe fatigue. They were already likely experiencing it a little due to the whole superhero double life thing, but after the last battle and their preparations for the dance tournament, it figures now it's starting to take a serious toll on them. This is an issue that I wish a lot more superhero shows and comics would address. You can't tell me that Batman doesn't suffer from sleep deprivation. Even East takes notice and actually shows concern towards Love, despite the fact they're supposed to be enemies. Remembering that little fact, she launches another attack, this time with an awesome Constructicon knockoff. The Precure again barely defeated in a very well animated fight scene, by the way, this time being forced to attack point blank since they're too tired to even fire long ranged attacks. East again retreats defeated, but this time actually delivering a significant blow to the team as they pass out on their way to their dance lessons, ending the episode with the chilling sound of ambulance sirens in the distance. This arc is amazing if only for moments like this. Both East and the Precure are pushing themselves to the limit, and it's giving it all such dramatic weight. Following this, we get an episode dedicated to the side characters. While recovering in the hospital, Tart tries to persuade the Precure to give up on dancing and just focus on their heroic duties. While certainly not an unreasonable suggestion, the Precure choose to continue to pursue both in spite of recent events. Meanwhile, Miyuki's feeling guilty for not noticing the deteriorating health of her students and thinks she pushed them too hard. Luckily, Tart comes in to relieve her of some of her guilt, though he ends up scaring her more than anything else.
Oh, come on, lady. It's just a cute little critter offering you a contract to become a magical girl. What do you have to be afraid of? Never mind, run for the hills.
But yeah, much like the Precure, Tart still believes Miyuki is destined to become the fourth member of the team, and wants her to join now if only to alleviate some of the team's workload. She refuses, saying that while she does recognize everything the Precure have done, she's already dedicated everything to being the leader of Trinity. Again, Precure or not, I really like Miyuki because she's a realist. While the Precure at least have the relief that dancing is currently only a part-time thing for them, Miyuki has a full-on career to worry about, so her refusing Tart is understandable. Tart, however, isn't satisfied with this, and on the day of the tournament steals a suitcase with the Precure's dance outfits in it, hoping it'll convince them to drop out of the contest and dancing altogether. While Tart didn't ring with me all that much at first, I thought he was just another mascot character, I like him here because he is showing concern for his friend's health. Still, he quickly realizes he shouldn't be the one to decide what they do with their lives, and immediately turns around to return the suitcase. This episode really helped to develop both Miyuki and Tart, while also highlighting how much the Precure mean to everyone. In fact, the third person arguably shows some subtle signs that she cares about them. After helping to return the suitcase to the girls, East reaches over and throws her card at the suitcase. I might be overthinking this, but the fact that she aimed for the suitcase might be a sign that, like Tart, East is subconsciously trying to stop the Precure from overexerting themselves, in spite of the fact that earlier in the episode she encouraged them to participate in the tournament, knowing that it would drain them of their stamina. Hell, based on that, she should have waited until the end of the contest to attack, but she didn't. It's these nice little subtle touches that make the resolution of this arc all the more satisfying. Anyway, to stop the monster, the Precure transformed in front of Miyuki, who only now realizes that her dance students are the Precure.
Seriously, the talking fairies wasn't enough for you? I mean, Tart didn't outright say that Love's group was the Precure, but I think it'd be pretty easy to connect the dots.
Well, whatever, they defeat the MOTW, and Ace is left with 1/4 of the card left. In the following episode, Miyuki has officially become the Precure's ally, agreeing to keep their secret safe, while the team continues to push that she's the fourth, because yeah, being that dead horse hasn't become old yet. Nonetheless, Miyuki again proves to be one of the smarter characters and gets the superheroines to act as her security detail at her concert. Well, 2/3 of what she did was smart. Meanwhile, the combination of overusing the card and the hot Japan summer, seriously, if you're going to vacation there, never go in the summer unless you like walking through saunas, makes East pass out at the concert. She's taken to the infirmary by Love, who has a really sweet exchange with her. Love ends up talking about how, in spite of not being able to participate in the dance tournament for the last episode, she's not sad. She's had many friends supporting her, including East, and in return, Love wants to do the same for her. East doesn't take this well because, quite frankly, she doesn't know how to accept kindness. She comes from a dystopia where nobody supports anybody except this one bald asshole, who by the way is already making preparations to replace you, East. After running out of the infirmary, East uses the last of the card to create an air vent monster. It ends up becoming one hell of an epic fight, as not only is the thing strong, it can even affect the weather. Too bad it comes at a high cost for East, as the card has pushed her to her limit. Seeing her enemy in clear pain drives Love towards East.
泣いているじゃない。あなたの心が泣き叫んでるんじゃないの？本当は命が尽きてもいいなんて思ってないんだよね。
Shiphone is able to deactivate the card and Love finishes the monster off. However, Ise doesn't appreciate the save and reveals who she is to Love, ending their so-called friendship by crushing the clover necklace. Thus, we get to the final episode of this little story arc with an episode scripted by Mike Howell himself. Knowing that she was still in shock after learning that her close friend was her mortal enemy, Miyuki takes great care when discussing the matter with Love.
あの子はイースだったの。刹那なんて子はもともといなかったのよ。ただの同情で人間やめられるわけないもんね。
Okay, I won't say that Miyuki is in full jerk-ass Sayaka mode here, as she does bring up some good points. As I said, she suspected that Ise was evil for a while, and with this confirmation, she should see her as a dangerous threat. And no matter what, they are Precure. Eliminating threats and saving people is part of their solemn duty. Yet, where do they draw the line between threats and those who need to be saved?
This sort of moral dilemma is seen a lot in toy productions, especially Kamen Rider. One such example that's kind of similar to this one really is between Kotaro Minami and his brother.
The only question now is whether or not, like Kotaro, is Love right for trusting her supposed enemy? And if this can end better than it did for poor Shadow Moon. It's amazing how much more invested I am in this than some of the more well-known shonen rivalries out there. Really, what I think a lot of them lack is that genuine bond you can feel form between the participants. Even if their goals are in direct opposition to the others, Love and Ise have developed a connection so strong that they themselves cannot even fully comprehend it. At times even completely disregarding those very goals if it meant protecting the other. Eventually, Ise is able to acknowledge what Love Momozono means to her, and what she herself truly wants out of life. Too bad that life is quickly taken by one asshole god who controls the death rate. Still, hope literally comes flying in as Akun has finally made her contract with the 4th Precure. Reborn as Setsuna Higashi, the former denizen of Labyrinth was no longer under Mobius' command. That said, she also wasn't willing to work alongside those she had already caused so much pain. However, as fate would have it, she ends up running into Mrs. Momozono, who suggests that if she ever feels like she needs a boost, that she should pay a visit to her town. Eventually, she does heed her advice and visits the town, where the Precure just so happened to be standing at the entrance to.
Never ignore a coincidence, unless you're busy, in which case always ignore a coincidence.
She goes out to dinner with Love and her family and starts to see through the eyes of those she had affected during her tenure as Ise. And after witnessing a monster attack created by Westar, realizes the scope of damage she had caused and how she can't afford to run away anymore. Thus fully embracing her new title as a Precure. They defeat the MOTW, Setsuna officially joins the team, and is taken in by Love's family no less. Duh, isn't that sweet? She's gonna freeload off the family she terrorized on multiple occasions. Okay, sorry for being a smartass, as I do actually like the next couple of episodes where we see Setsuna fully integrated into the team. In episode 25, we see that her guilt over her time as Ise still hasn't completely faded, after she plays with the boy and his dog from episode 3. Yeah, remember the dog she turned into an MOTW? For whatever reason, it doesn't recognize her, even though she should still have the exact same scent.
Stupid dog!
Still, with the support of her new teammates, she starts to overcome her insecurities and even defeats a literal shadow of her former self.
Damn it, I'm most inspired whenever they treat shadows like real physical things. They're not really. If anything, that Nakiwameki should be more of a grass monster. Though we've already done the whole Stephen King thing and the symbolism is appreciated, so it's all good.
Following this, the girls finally address a little issue that they completely forgot about.
みゆきさんが4人目のプリキュアかもってのは勘違いやったんや。
What a twist!
Anyway, since the Precure were unable to practice their dancing after the events from 6 episodes back, they decide to spend the summer at a training camp coached by Miyuki. Setsuna also tags along, which is just perfect as she's able to use her Link Rune's totally OP ability of instant teleportation.
$10 says that's actually one of Deadpool's discarded teleportation devices. She ends up spamming it about as much as Wade would.
While at the camp, Setsuna is offered the chance to join Love's dance troupe, but refuses at first due to having no confidence in her skills. Sound familiar? Though Setsuna probably had it far worse when you consider Labyrinth didn't have amenities like music, or fun for that matter. Ergo, she's unfamiliar with concepts like beat and rhythm. Still, she wants to learn them, and in a good role reversal, Inori is the one who helps the introverted girl try something new. Also, Westar is absolutely hilarious in this episode, but that's nothing new.
The next episode is... So, episode 28 opens with... Okay, I'll talk about episode 27 briefly.
Episode 27 features a guest appearance by a Manzai comedy duo Odori. And if you've seen my Glare Force first impressions video, you'll know how I feel about these guys who make Kathy Griffin seem tolerable. Okay, first of all, I'll say that I don't dislike Manzai comedy. I'm kind of indifferent to it, really. But the thing is, not every comedian can be a Robin Williams or even an A. Murphy. Manzai in particular is a style of comedy that relies on dry delivery. Hence, the performances these guys deliver are...
俺たちの出番はまだ終わってない。
このまま舞台へ降りるわけにはいかんのだ。
うわー、多すぎる。
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Not helped by the fact that these guys look like they were born in the Uncanny Valley. Yeesh.
Maybe I used the 4Kids clip a little bit too early. Though, the worst part about all of this is that this helped save the day. The comedians saved the super heroines.
This is bullshit! Get the bricks!
Really, when has it ever been a good idea to pair a superhero up with a comedian?
Point is, meaningless guest stars lead to pointless filler. Moving on. So, after a major low, at least we get a nice touching little tale. After seeing some old photos, Love realizes she doesn't really remember that much about her late grandfather. Understandable since she was 4 when he passed away, but like a lot of us, she wants to remember him if only to preserve the memory. And as it just so happens, Solar creates an MOTW that can send its victims into comas where they end up trapped in memories of the past. Guess who his first victim is? So yeah, thanks to Solar, Love is able to reunite with a close approximation of her grandfather, but it also leaves her team high and dry without a leader. Eventually, Shifon is able to connect Love's mind with the real world, and somehow Love's grandfather is able to see it and figures out that their world is just a dream and Love needs to go back to the real world. So, this old man who is formed from Love's memories, mind you, somehow had enough cognitive thought to realize the world he's living in is just a dream?
もしかしたら私たちマリーさんの見ている夢の中にいるんじゃないだろうか。
Could somebody call Leonardo DiCaprio? This is getting kind of confusing.
Well, whatever. Thanks to him, Love is able to wake up and defeat the MOTW. This is a nice episode that highlights Love's character, which we'll discuss more later in these reviews. Following this, we get... Did I mix this up with one of my Lupin the Third DVDs? No, actually, this is a Kaoru-chan focused episode where for a brief stint, he returned to his old job as a Secret Service agent to a royal family from some made-up country. The prince of the royal family had run off with a priceless diamond and they wanted Kaoru-chan to find him before some bad guy could, who turns out to be the butler, and wasn't this supposed to be a magical girl anime? Yeah, this is a bit of a weird episode, but kind of fun, honestly. Kaoru-chan's charm alone helps make this mess of an episode, at least an enjoyable mess. Following this, we get a Tart episode. After being brought into the Yamabuki pet hospital with a sore stomach, some sleazy reporter spots Tart and decides to make him a paparazzi target after realizing he might not be an average mammal. Seriously, this asshole is a piece of work. He essentially instigates a riot over a ferret-like creature just because he doesn't have a belly button.
Dude, you're from an anime. Animals seldom have visible belly buttons. Bad example.
But yeah, unless you're a fan of animal abuse, this is a pretty subpar episode. Oh, and also, there might be a slightly racist MOTW.
Amigo!
I don't see it. Isn't that right, Tequila Gundam?
And continuing this little pattern of essentially filler episodes starring side characters, next up we have... wait, what was his name again? Daisuke, yeah, Daisuke, the guy who has an obvious crush on our main heroine. This episode is mostly just him being a total jerk off to Love when he notices her paying more attention to Setsuna than him.
Kid, quit being a putz. We live in more PC times. Let Love choose her partner. Also, don't miss my OTP.
No, he's upset because Love forgot about his baseball game. But you know, dude, you could just come out and say it and stop being a really annoying male tsundere, which is the worst kind of tsundere, really. Then again, it seems to be this kid's only setting whenever he appears in this anime. Whatever, I can't even remember his name at this point, so let's move on from all this damn filler. Okay, so finally we get some story progression. Tart and Shifu have been ordered to return to their kingdom by the Elder from the first episode. They say their heartfelt farewells to the Precure, as this will most likely be the last time they see them. That is until they decide to tag along. Usually it's the other way around. Anyway, it's here that we learn that Tart was in fact the prince of his kingdom. Though really, I think Toei just made him prince just so that they could be lazy with their character designs. I mean, the guards look all the damn same, the king is basically just Tart with a mustache. Even Tart's fiancée Azukina is your basic Mickey to Minnie conversion. Well, anyway, the reason the Elder called Tart back was so that he could retrieve something from the shrine that the Precure's transformation trinkets first appeared from.
Well, we are about halfway through this series. I guess it's good enough time as any for some requisite fetch quests. Just as long as it doesn't involve fishing out the Triforce pieces out of the ocean. That takes forever.
Oh, speaking of Nintendo properties, hi Piranha Plant! But yeah, as it turns out, the woods near Tart's kingdom have become a lot more dangerous than he remembered. Apparently, Azukina had released an evil forest spirit as a means of scaring Tart away from the shrine and preventing him from completing his mission and heading back to the human world.
So, just to keep your boyfriend around, you released a dangerous monster that would likely attack your kingdom, thereby killing many of your woodland friends and family in the process. You're kind of reaching Gasai levels here, lady, and let me guess, they're gonna forgive her in the end and she's gonna become a recurring character, right? Great!
I mean, yeah, she kind of redeemed herself by releasing the item trapped in the shrine, weakening the monster so that the Precure could defeat it and everything, but I still think they forgive her a little bit too easily, just saying. Anyway, the item from the shrine turns out to be a very plastic-looking music box called the Clover box.
Let's not place it!
And Tart is asked to take it back with him to the human world because of course this isn't his and Shifon's farewell episode. Toei, don't make your episode titles such obvious swerves. Next up, we get the last of the bonding with Setsuna episodes. After Love and Inori cancel at the last minute, Miki ends up spending the day clothes shopping with Setsuna, and unfortunately the two are like oil and water. In terms of personalities, these two couldn't be more opposite, thus they don't have much to talk about. That is until Miki has a little bit of a freak out. As it turns out, Sayaka isn't the only blue swordswoman Miki emulates. She also seems to have Saber's fear of octopi after a traumatic experience as a kid.
Though I never understood why Saber was afraid of them. I mean, all she did was fight some tentacled eldritch abomination summoned by a fish-eyed lunatic. I mean, what's so bad about that?
Setsuna cheers her up by admitting her greatest fear, which is...
私が一番怖いのはあなたたちがいなくなること。
Wow, that's actually pretty deep.
It says a lot about Setsuna's character, especially when you consider where she comes from.
Speaking of which, what are the Labyrinth guys up to?
我に仕えよ
Oh.
So, with Miki terrified of the octopus monster, Setsuna takes it on alone and...
Well, I've seen enough. No. You're above those kinds of jokes. You don't need to make jokes about seeing. No? Okay. Just get it out of your system. I've seen enough of it!
So, seeing Setsuna in danger allows Miki to overcome her fears and make the save. Love and Inori soon join in and together they defeat the MOTW, whose design doesn't remind me of anything in the slightest. Next episode, please! So, after like 10 or so episodes since joining the Precure, Setsuna finally addresses the little issue of Labyrinth and its goals. Then again, I think even the writers forgot about them as they were too busy writing comedy gold. Anyway, she filled them in on the misfortune gauge and how if it should fill up, the infinity would appear. And sure enough, after 33 episodes, it was almost full. So, to fill up the remainder of the gauge, Westar and Solar decided to make one last strong Nakewameke, this time being a calendar monster who could stop time from moving forward.
My god, it's the monster responsible for Haruhi's endless age!
But yeah, with the date stuck on the night of the very day this episode originally aired on, nice little touch there, the town was in a state of panic. Of course, the Precure were able to defeat the MOTW, but it was already too late. The widespread panic had filled out the remainder of the gauge, and the infinity finally revealed itself.
Not too surprising when you consider her VA is currently playing the most powerful DBZ character, May as well make her the almighty MacGuffin in this anime.
Anyway, while in Infinity Mode, Chiffon became a mindless doll that aimlessly wandered parallel worlds.
我が名はインフィニティ無限のメモリーなり
I wonder what Pokemon it is.
Oh yeah, her actress also provided the voice to the ancestor to all Pokemon. Must be nice playing God all the time.
The Precure are understandably worried sick about her. Though rather than building on the drama, why don't we throw in a random French-speaking owl?
Bonjour, mademoiselle. お困りのようですな、お嬢さん方。
Well, of course.
The Elder informs the Precure about Chiffon's origins. Apparently, she originally appeared out of a fallen star as though she were frickin' Superman or something, with the clover box.
Wait, if the clover box existed before the beginning of this anime, why didn't you entrust Chart with it when he originally traveled to the human world? Or did the toy designers just need more time?
Well, anyway, the King and the Elder had been trying to hide the fact that Chiffon was the Infinity, knowing that one day somebody like Mobius might appear. Said Batty had already located Chiffon and ordered Solar and Westar to go to the land of toys.
Still a better performance than Keanu Reeves.
And just when they're about to capture Chiffon, the Precure used the clover box to summon her back to the human world, as well as deactivate her Infinity mode. Westar and Solar just call it quits rather easily, and the episode ends with the Precure and their friends and family having a nice little party. Well, isn't that nice? And I'm sure nothing bad is gonna happen from here on out.
このノーザ、命に変えましてもインフィニティを手に入れてご覧に入れます。すべてはメビウス様のために。
Fresh Precure's second act has some of the best and worst episodes in the entire series.
Okay, so obviously Setsuna's redemption arc was fantastic. Not only was the build up to her turn well booked, it also gave the Precure and their allies time to shine. It was all well paced and everyone had their moment. Which is the exact opposite of what I could say about the majority of episodes that followed. There is just so much damn filler. Now, admittedly, some of it ranged from decent to pretty good, but most of it was either painful comedy, animal abuse, or focusing on rather forgettable side characters. Worst part of it all is that Miki and Nori didn't get any real solo episodes during this whole time. Yeah, they got episodes where they bonded with Setsuna and everything, but nothing where they were able to individually shine. Also, it makes no sense to have such a huge gap in between those episodes. Whenever a 6th Ranger joins a team, there should be a kind of mini arc where they interact with their new team. But nope, after the Inori and Setsuna episode, we got the freaking Odori episode. As a result, it ends up throwing off a lot of cohesion to the show's narrative. It's not all bad, but it could have used a lot more fine-tuning and a lot less scary faces.
Next up, thankfully things will pick up a little bit in the series' third and final act. Until then though, farewell for now my friends.